Alright, what's up everybody? It's your boy Akeen and welcome to today's vlog. Here to talk about tomorrow night's NFL matchup between the Denver Broncos hosting the San Diego Chargers. A great AFC showdown between two good quarterbacks, Phillip Rivers for San Diego and Peyton Manning for Denver. Now I'm here to give you some fantasy tips for tomorrow night's matchup. Start things off with San Diego. I must say I'm not really feeling this matchup this week for many of their playmakers except for quarterback Phillip Rivers. I think that he's going to have to duke it out with Peyton Manning and throwing the football and effectively in this matchup. Phillip Rivers is a candidate for the MVP award this season. He's having a great year using all of his weapons around him. But for this particular matchup, with all the playmakers that San Diego has, I'm very doubtful for just about all of them. Now I'm going to start with Brandon Oliver, the running back for the Chargers. Now he came out of nowhere in free agency and he was one of the top players that you should have picked up off waivers, coming back off to great weeks. But last week against Kansas City, he only had 7 points. That was mainly due to the fact that Kansas City had to hold on to the football for close to 40 minutes in that matchup to pull off the 3-point victory over San Diego at the Chargers field. Now I'm a little bit concerned for Brandon Oliver in this matchup because he's facing against the Denver defense, who has the third best run defense team in the National Football League. I don't think he's going to prepare too well in this matchup. Now last week against San Francisco, for the running backs for the 49ers, they only posted up 3 points total. And mind you again, the game is played at Denver. 49ers played at Denver. I think that Brandon Oliver should be a sit for you guys this week. Next player I need to talk about is Eddie Royal for the Chargers. Sticking with their particular playmakers, Eddie Royal in 5 games against the Broncos has count them, 0 touchdowns and just 134 yards receiving in all 5 of those games combined. Very doubtful for this one. I'm not feeling it. Even though, like I said, Phillip Rivers is going to be throwing the football effectively, I do not really trust to see what will happen with the Chargers on wide receivers in this matchup. And last and probably the least person that you probably like to talk about this season, Keenan Allen. Major disappointment. Only had 1 good game where he posted 135 yards 3 weeks ago. He has not been playing up to par. Now he should be a good favorable matchup against Denver, mainly because he, in his games against Denver last season, he did score touchdowns in both of those matches. Could score a touchdown in this one, but he has been very doubtful for me. I'm not really feeling him at all this season. I told you guys that you should probably bench him and probably even drop him for your team. But if you still have him like I do, I think that he is worth the risk to play him this week against that Denver defense. But I'm not going to be surprised if he has another bad game. But this could be a risk factor for Keenan Allen. If you have to risk in desperate need to have a wide receiver to show up this week, I will probably have to risk things up with Keenan Allen over the remaining players, like I talked about, Brandon Oliver and Eddie Royal. Between the 3 players, I have my hopes on more towards Keenan Allen, even though he has been a major disappointment, one of the most frustrating players this season in fantasy football. Now, as far as the San Diego Charger defense, this is a definite and obvious one. Do not start their defense. They pulverized my 49er team last week. And in my personal opinion, I think the 49ers defense is a little bit better than San Diego's defense, even with the fact that we have a couple of key players missing like Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman. I still think that San Francisco has a better defense than the Chargers because of their discipline. Now, headed over for the Denver Broncos, obvious, go with Peyton Manning, Julius Thomas, Demaryius Thomas. I think you should go right ahead and start all 3 of these players. Now, for Emmanuel Sanders, he had a 10-point performance last week, only 41 yards receiving against the Niners, and that's touchdown, which equal to 10 points. I think you should go right ahead and give him the starting nod for this matchup. I think this is going to be a big-time aerial attack in this game. Now, for running back Ronnie Hillman of the Broncos, this is a little bit of a question mark. I've received a couple of concerns about him. I think you should go right ahead and start him this week. He did had a good game. He even had a good touchdown run against my San Francisco 49ers in the second half because things was getting a little bit out of control. But I still think he is worth the starting nod this week as a good number 2 back for fantasy play. And last but not least, the Denver Broncos defense, I think you should go right ahead and start them. They had a great game last week against the Niners. I think they're going to do a good job stopping the football. That's why I said that you should sit out Brandon Oliver. But as far as the pass attack, a little bit of concern, but I still think they could give you at least 8 points in this matchup, at least 8 points. I don't think they're going to have a big game, but if you're looking for just some safe, decent points, go right ahead and start Denver's defense. Do not start San Diego's defense, but the only player that I have 100% on confidence in is quarterback Phillip Rivers, representing for San Diego. Now, the next time I'm going to catch you guys will be on Friday, where I will talk about the remaining key players that you should sit and start for Week 8 of the 2014 season. Thank you for watching today's blog. From the Football Source, I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.